Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Meta Cafe, where you can get your daily dose of astrology, human design, and tarot with myself, Janet Hickox, and with Jason Livanis of Titillating Tarot fame.
You forgot you can also get your local advice on Uranus. That has been definitely the focus of our shows. Janet has been looking deep inside the anus, and what she has told us has been pretty riveting. I hope everyone's listening. Hardcore stuff.
You totally crack me up. Today we're not going to talk about Uranus or Uranus or Uranus, whichever way you choose to pronounce it, because today we're going to talk a little bit about the Black Moon Lilith.
Yay!
Because our moon is lingering in the later degrees of Sagittarius today, which means that she has already met up with our friend or foe, depending on how you wish to look at him, Saturn, and is now sitting halfway between Saturn and the galactic center, which means they're all three sort of like ducks in a row lined up. But there's one more duck to add to that, and that is the Black Moon Lilith, who will be hit later in the day by the moon's transit across her face. So I thought it was worth talking a little bit about what the Black Moon represents, because a lot of astrologers don't use her. I happen to love the work that Laura Walker's done with Oracle Report on, I mean, she's actually the only one that I know of that's really written a definitive book on the Black Moon and her meaning. And she has been transiting through Sagittarius now for almost 9 months. And so that means she has been triggering for us all kinds of stuff, right? Stuff around the same things that Saturn has been about: beliefs, what truth is, how we can encompass freedom or free ourselves from fear. And so here, when the moon begins to sit on her,
I know what you were gonna say.
The moon and the Black Moon Lilith are sort of like sisters, right? They're the moon you could consider to be the older, wiser sister, and the Black Moon Lilith, the younger, more immature face of that motherly energy or that feminine energy. And immature is not quite the word I'm looking for, but maybe a shade darker perhaps than what the moon generally is, because she's really creating a shadow for us, a place where we don't see ourselves clearly. We don't see where the fear in our particular chart is, or in our particular lives even, is holding us back or stopping us from moving forward. And so I thought it was worth taking a look at her, since the moon is going to be conjunct her. And, you know, Black Moon right now is sitting at 28 degrees of Sagittarius. That means in the very near future, she will move out of that fear of the Sagittarius kind and into the Capricorn kind. So
I knew you were going there. I didn't want to interrupt.
She's a going there. So I thought, I don't even know that we've really talked about what the Black Moon means in Sag, much less what she means when she gets to Capricorn. So I thought we'd take a little look at that today. First of all, the Black Moon Lilith being a shadow means, of course, we don't see it clearly. It's sort of behind us, like, or in front of us, but we just don't see it. You know, your shadow, you know, essentially you walk on every day, right? If you're out in the sunshine, you know it's
very poetic. That's very poetic, very elegant. I walk on my shadow.
Oh, we got to get Rachel in here and see what she can do with that as a poem.
Do you imagine her with Black Moon? I'm sorry.
We should give her that as an assignment. Rachel, your assignment, should you choose to accept it, is to write a series of poetry about the Black Moon Lilith.
And girl, I can't think of anyone better to write about Black Moon Lilith. Anyway, my sister wife happens to be black, but I digress. So anyway,
she does happen to be black, but she was wearing the most stellar eyeglasses last night. They were like these white pearlescent looking things. They were awesome on her.
Yeah, I can't handle her. She's incredible. Go ahead.
So the Black Moon Lilith in Sagittarius then is really talking to us about the shadow of truth, right? What is truth? What is the truth, right? We're always on a search. It's human beings in general are always on a search for truth. And as we have seen in the political headlines for, let's see, how many months now? Almost a year now. The concept of the truth always being bent a bit and if not bent a bit, an out and out lie by people who are in power in this country. So the shadow of truth is that it has caused all of us to sort of wonder, what is the truth? I mean, if he says one thing and someone else says another thing, like just recently, the young woman whose husband died in the attack in Niger, in her conversation with the president, he, kind of insulted her, according to her. And according to him, that's not how it went at all. And of course, then John Kelly gets in there and says, well, I was there and I didn't hear that. And so it sets up a he said, she said. So we've seen this ad nauseum for 9 months at least, right? That idea of what is truth. I even found myself on Facebook, having to tell people many times, look, is this really true? And if it isn't, why are you spreading this not truth out there? Did you even go and do your due diligence in looking up what the truth might really be? And I offered up a couple of different sites where people can go and actually look it up. Do your work, right? Don't just believe that the sky is falling and tomorrow we're all going to die. Or, as many religious believers had us believing that the end of the earth was nigh. What was that, October of 2013 or 2016? I don't remember now because I don't pay attention to it necessarily. So do your due diligence with this. Take that shadow of truth, or the shadow which could be a lie, and find your truth, your meaning in that. And if it doesn't ring true to you, we all come with bullshit meters, right? I have a particularly strong bullshit meter, unless it comes to people. People in my face, that people that I love can get away with a whole lot. But when I hear a bunch of the fuzz out there, I immediately am triggered by that bullshit meter going, okay, I got to go look this up. And I think we all have that.
She's also the same way when it comes to being a client of hers. She's really nice about, okay, blah, blah, blah. But at the end of the day, she's going to look at you and say, bullshit. Now, let's work for this. She never says that, but you could see it in her eyes like, oh, you might want to look at this differently.
Yeah, because that's the shadow, right? The shadow blinds us. It's like putting blinders on every time that there's an issue in your life and this blinder comes up. Well, the shadow or the fear, because fear and shadow, same sort of thing. The fear is that life is really meaningless. There's no meaning to anything that's going on here. Because when, for example, how many of you out there listening to this morning are already feeling like you don't have any faith or trust in the U.S. government anymore, right? Or in the process of selecting a president, or in the process of believing your politicians. I mean, they've been eroding that concept of truth from us for years.
Yeah.
For decades. I mean, I don't know if there's ever been a truthful politician out there. As much as I loved Obama, I'm sure there are things that he couldn't even tell us.
Of course.
Would cause, the shadow of truth to be out there for us. And we know it. That's the sad part, is that we know it when we're hearing it. But what can we do about it? Sorry, guys, I forgot to turn my phone on silent.
Whatever.
So the shadow here creates an issue for us to go through and look at what the deceptions are for us personally. What is your truth? Because that's the only thing that matters at the end of the day. And if your truth differs from mine, well, that is why we live in a free country, right? That we have the freedom, which is also a Sagittarian theme, to believe differently, to live side by side with people, irregardless of the belief system. I can live next door to a Muslim and not feel threatened. Can you? Right? Therein lies the problem. When you have a free country and you have shadows, there are people who live from the shadow and others that live from the light. So, but we're all in the same, playground together. So we have to figure out how to work with our own shadows. And you do that by a self-search, by looking at your truths and asking the question, is this really true? So we have a fundamental shift today going on in our ability to look deeper. The moon is helping us enlighten ourselves a little bit more and start on a new path. Remember, we're still in the shadow of that new moon. The moon is just very, very small slice at this point in time. So we still have the ability to choose to choose a new path forward. And the galactic center's involvement in all of that is what really helps us do that, right? We can be being bathed with new energy, with cosmic, highly charged cosmic particles, that neutrinos, cosmic rays, gamma rays, X-rays, microwaves, and all of those things have a tendency to elevate our evolutionary process. But we also have to move with that and stop fighting against that tide of change, and move forward willingly to create a better world. And so discover what your part in all of that is and go for it, right? Go for it. This will pass as we move through the day, about 8 o'clock this evening, your time, so 5 o'clock West Coast time. The moon will move out of Sagittarius and into Capricorn. And we'll talk about that tomorrow, because that is certainly going to change the energy up, as the moon in Capricorn is a little more deliberate in taking actions, in setting goals, in letting maybe some of the emotional stuff set aside. And so we'll talk more about that tomorrow, giving Jason an opportunity now to pull a card.
All righty.
And I just saw something come from you. What is this? Oh, tomorrow. Oh, nice.
And you have your visual.
Yes, I saw that.
All right.
Jason froze. I can hear.
Yeah.
You're
I put on thing on Do Not Disturb, and of course, people are calling in at the wrong time. It's Christian, actually. Who I told him I'll talk at 12:30, but anyway.
Hi, Christian. If you're watching, and if you're not watching, you should be. And why aren't you?
Because he's working.
Oh, yes, that would make a difference. Huh? Okay, you're unfrozen now.
I know. It's just he keeps piping through it. I don't think he got the message. But anyway, folks, let's try and get this done. This is the Six of Swords.
Ooh.
And it's a lovely card. One of my favorite cards. It's a little hard to see perhaps through the line there.
Yeah.
But if you look straight, this is a motherboard. Very often I'm talking to you about these cards and I'm describing them, Janet, when we do the show, but I don't think you get to see them sometimes. Anyway.
Oh, wow. Suddenly your voice was really loud and everything.
Nice. This bottom part here is the, what do you call it? Motherboard.
Okay.
This part here is the sky, you can see.
Okay.
And in here, do you see there's an eye of God there, right there?
I do see a green eye of God.
Christian just piped in and he's going to laugh. Oh, sorry. Yes. Sorry. Later today. Sorry, Christian. Anyway. You see these swords and they're intertwining. They're literally making a mesh between the heavens and the earth being green motherboard. I get this card a lot for people who are technical, people who are scientists, people who are great thinkers, bringing in the information, the cosmic rays, the information from the heavens, but are spiritually adept, intellectually, physiologically adept to bring it into the material world. This is the whole idea, as in heaven, so below. But when and why and how is it? It's through the people, the swords, that bring down this information. These geniuses that are bringing abstract thoughts, abstract healing arts, which we'll get to, and bring it into the physical world. So what does that mean? Tune in. It means not just to my show or your show. It means
but tune into a show.
Tune into the fact that you have the ability to bring down from the spirit realm all of the data you need, mental, physical, spiritual. Like I said, this time, when I get this card in certain associations, it tells me, oh, this person's an IT guy. It'll be like bang every time. It's so funny. So that's kind of it today. So be aware of the energies that are moving through you and motivating you today, because they come really well sent, is the best way to put that.
It feels almost like it's an interface between heaven and earth.
It is exactly that. The swords of truth.
The swords of truth. I was getting there, right? To the
of truth.
A truth.
Brings what you need.
So the 9, then, interestingly enough, Jason and I are working on doing a class or seminar together where we're going to talk about the different symbologies of the cards, the astrology, and the numerology. So interestingly, in the middle of the night, I was wide awake, God knows why. and I was doing numerology in my head. And I probably should have tested this before I got on air to say this. But for whatever reason, at 2 a.m, I'm thinking about the planet Jupiter. And I did the numerology on Jupiter. And I realized that Jupiter begins with the letter J, which is a 1, and ends in the letter R, which is a 9. So we have the alpha and the omega built into the energy of the planet Jupiter. Alpha and omega meaning that the beginning and the end, sort of Ouroboros, the idea of all things coming, to completion, and that completion also being a new beginning, and, on and on. And then I got to thinking about the fact that Jupiter has just made its transit into Scorpio, a sign that we know of that really is engaged in the shadow. Very Black Moon Lilith. And of course, Black Moon Lilith is a shadow. And we've now got Jupiter and now the Sun conjuncting, or tomorrow, let's see, or Thursday's their actual conjunction, but they're conjunct now for all intents and purposes. And so it's really giving us this opportunity to dig into those fears. And I found myself flying through that last night and going, it's really interesting to be someone who's teaching people about fear and be experiencing fear yourself and having to look at it in a way that to find the truth in what it is, right? What is the truth about fear? The fear is really a remnant of a time that we needed, the fight, flight, or freeze kind of energies to be able to survive. Now that our very survival isn't an issue, we've morphed them into these other weird things. So, I'm actually doing a radio show this evening on Angel Heart Radio, which is on the Blog Talk radio network. And we're going to be talking about fear, because one of the things I had noticed is that over the last several weeks in human design, all the sun and earth have been playing around all the fear gates of the spleen. Is it any wonder we're dealing with fear? And is it any wonder now for the next year we have Scorpio as playing host to Jupiter, where she will dredge up the fears, because you can't grow and evolve if you don't let go of some of these fears. So it'll be kind of fun to see how this plays out in people's lives, especially you Scorpios out there who are having your birthdays at the same time this lovely planet is, in domicile in your home, your sign. So every time I see those swords, though, I always think of somehow, piercing through something, our fears or our veils, the things that we can't see correctly. And the 9 of Swords then makes me think about, Jupiter and Scorpio, and how will we look 1 year from today when we're talking about Jupiter's moving into the next sign, right? How many fears will we have gone through as a nation, as an individual, as a family, as a community? And how will we have released some of that, a la connecting heaven and earth? Mm-hmm. Should be kind of a fascinating year, I think, even though it's sort of uncomfortable to keep waking up in the middle of the night thinking about fear.
Absolutely.
A little tired of it, but I get it, right? Because people are in fear. It's everywhere. So tune in this afternoon.
And so is love.
Absolutely. And that's the whole thing that we are getting to, right?
I know you are sugar pudding. Quickly, because I have to go get myself cracked. I'm excited about tomorrow. Things don't always, unfold the way we want it to. I would have liked to have had this particular star, this gentleman on during the art card, because it would have fallen beautifully underneath the medical arts. But we're going to take a little trip back to the old country tomorrow. I feel it's important. Sometimes Janet and I like to have guests on that are related but not related, because it's nice to break things up. I have been blessed to have been working for the last a month and a half, 2 months, with a gentleman, a healer by the name of Dr. Philip Di Pasquale. And so tomorrow we're having hopefully a full hour with the doctor for the Chiropractic Corner with Chiropractic Corner with Philip Di Pasquale. I'm hoping it will be a fun time. I think he's got a great personality. He's great looking dude and I'm not even going to tell you how old he is. He looks 10 years younger than me, the son of a bitch, and is just I just want to rip his face off. Anyway, he has all but healed me completely. So we're going to talk about my world with chiropractic in my life. I was named after a chiropractor's son. So there's a lot of history here with me and a lot of sentimentality.
Yeah, look how long it took you to go to a chiropractor to get help for your back.
Because
the
guy that I used to go to died, and I did not trust myself with anybody because there are so many charlatans out there, like anything, like bad doctors, like blah, blah. But anyway, he earned his doctorate of chiropractic from the prestigious Palmer College of Chiropractic in '82, cum laude. Since opening his practice, he's been an active member of the New Jersey Chiropractic Association, as well as something called ANGC, alumni of the Palmer College, blah, 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 Research Foundation. I can't go on enough about it, but that's going to be tomorrow. And then I'm hoping every month for like 15, 20 minutes, he will come on like Christie's Corner and do the chiropractic corner. I'm having a lot of corners. I only have 2, so maybe we can get 4, and then we'll be, or maybe 8. And
then you'll be balanced. You'll have 4 corners.
Anyway, listen, I love you, but I need to run because.
Well, everybody, take care. Have a great day, Jason. Have a good session, and tune in to Titillating Tarot tomorrow night at 4 p.m. and
Living Astrology with Janet on Thursday at 4 p.m. and 7 p.m.
Yes. Oh, yeah. 7 p.m. East Coast, 4 p.m. West Coast. Take care, everybody. Have a great day. Bye-bye. Bye, Jason. Oh, I love your little pumpkin man.
Okay. I love you too. Goodbye.